Hello, Mustang football fans, and welcome to this week's edition of the Cory Sauter Show here at Studio One, Marshall Cable Access, and online at SMSUmustangs.com. And once again, we talk Mustang football. The Mustangs coming off a loss on the road to undefeated University of Sioux Falls, 44-20. We'll talk about that game and take a look at the highlights, and then preview this week's game against Wayne State at the Schwann Regional Events Center. And joining us, as always, is the head coach. And Coach Sauter, we talked about this last week, about playing a lot of undefeated teams here in the last month, and that was the case this past Saturday in Sioux Falls. Mustangs losing to a very good team, Sioux Falls, 44-20, and lots of things to talk about. There were some positives too, but you look at the first number, obviously a lot of turnovers, and tough to win games with that many turnovers, and a couple really didn't come back to hurt, but nonetheless, against a good team like that, it's tough to overcome.
Yeah, good teams tend to create turnovers, and they did exactly that. When you have 7 turnovers, really doesn't matter who's on your schedule. You're not going to win that ball game. That's just way too many opportunities that are really flushed down the toilet, and you don't get those back. And so that was the disappointing thing. We emphasized that really all week, because the fact that, all season long, you take a look at our offense, we've had 2 or more turnovers every single ball game, right? In comparison to last year, 10 out of our 11 games, we had 1 or less, right? So there's a huge difference between the way we're performing on that side of the football. And so we have to give ourselves a chance in order to compete against especially some of these top teams, and that was very, very disappointing the way we handled that.
Yeah, of course, the Mustangs last season a +5 in turnover margin, -10 this season so far through 7 weeks, and again the Mustangs 5 interceptions, a couple of turnovers as well, and then obviously kind of like a turnover as a special team score, and unfortunately with a 2-touchdown game in the fourth quarter, Sioux Falls gave them credit and they made some plays, and they got a kickoff return for a touchdown that kind of made it much more difficult for the Mustangs to come back. But these are things that are correctable, and there was plenty of good signs coming out of that ball game, and besides a few of those plays, we're right there up there. Here's a team that gives up 297 yards a game defensively, USF, and we had 440 some yards, and we're able to do some things through the air.
Yeah, we were able to do some things. We saw a lot of man coverage in this ball game, and they were going to challenge us. They were going to try to force us to take some of the low percentage throws, and I thought we handled that fairly well. We were able to adjust our game plan within the game itself and start to hit some slants and some other concepts that were good versus man coverage. So I thought we adjusted pretty well. Defensively, we had really a back-to-back good performance. Last week in this game, were very, very solid performance by our defense to be able to hold them to the point total that they had based off of what they had to get for field position. Was pretty amazing. And they've got a lot of threats. They have the ability to run the football, they have the ability to throw, and their quarterback has the ability to run. So there's really 3 things going on there, and to consistently stop that is a major task. And but I felt like we played aggressively. We were able to make some stops. We actually had 7 3-and-outs. So that was pretty impressive. But I think we're making some nice strides there. We just need to help them out, and we can't put them in a tough spot. We had a kickoff return that was fumbled, deep in our territory. We had a ball that was fumbled deep in our territory. So you put all that together, it's a totally different ball game, and you get into that fourth quarter, and at least you have a chance. But we definitely shot ourselves in the foot, and as I mentioned early on, good teams are going to create those things, and it turned into a tough game early on.
Obviously the thing about turnovers, it puts your defense in some tough spots, but it was great to see, and it's the little things about not giving up touchdowns. You look at a couple of fumbles that were recovered, as you mentioned, deep in Mustang territory, but held for a couple of field goals, and then also blocked a field goal, and that was good to see. And obviously they're going to get some yards in those particular situations, but guys are making some plays, and it's just good to see that they're not giving up and still able to make some plays and give a team a chance to win.
Right, yeah. No, it's good to see that they rally around each other, especially when their back is against the wall. it would be very, very easy to get frustrated, in your own special teams or your own offense if you're a defensive player, and all of a sudden, time after time again, you're backed up and in the red zone immediately. And but they battled through. Unfortunately, we only played well in one of the three phases, and in order to beat Sioux Falls, we had to play at least well in 2 out of the 3, if not 3 out of the 3.
Yeah, and of course, turnovers are a big difference in the ball game. Mustangs -5 in the contest, and a good example in that third quarter, you go down, you just score a touchdown to make it 27-13. Defense gets a 3 and out, and then you get a first down in the first play. Ball was fumbled, and it was a kid trying to make a play. He was obviously trying to extend the play, and USF ripped it away. But so some of these turnovers obviously are guys trying to make plays. Nobody's trying to make a mistake. Even on with Charlie Kern's some of those passes. I mean, they're there. It's just maybe forcing it a little bit too much, and just trying to get that big play to get that spark, I suppose.
Yeah, no, we had a play to Carr that made a nice play on it to get us 12, 13 yards. Just a great learning situation for him is just get down. We already got basically what we're going to get. We don't need any more yards, and he definitely saw that on film when we showed that to him. But it's not a lack of effort. It's not a lack of focus or anything like that. I think just part of it is just understanding the situation and making sure we're not forcing things in there where they don't need to be forced. When you look at our season, a lot of our turnovers have happened on first down, and that's not good because really first down is a bonus down for you. You can kind of do what you want. You can run, you can throw, you can play action, right? So you have the advantage on offense, and if something isn't there, you got to throw it away, you got to get rid of it, whatever. But the last thing we want to do is turn the ball over on first down, and that's something that we've got to get corrected right away.
Well, on the offensive side of things, nice balance receiving-wise. Adam Olson, a really nice game, 11 catches, tying a career high, and not a lot of deep passes to him, but he was able to take some hits and break some tackles. It was good to see him as a senior as he winds down his career, and a lot of different guys on that offensive side are catching the football and not just catching it, but getting yards after contact.
Right, and there's a lot of kids that have caught footballs in that ball game. But the other nice thing too is we've been able to catch the football consistently. In the last game, I think we had 2 drops, and that's a pretty good number. Anytime you're at 1 or 2, that's a very solid number, and it's something that we keep track every single week. One of our bad games of the year early on, I think we had like 9 drops, and that's way out of line. But really recently we've been doing a nice job. If balls are thrown to a receiver, they're catching it, getting yards after the catch, and again, we're spreading the ball out pretty nicely. And again, a guy like Adam Olson, who's been here for a long time, played in a lot of football games, he has actually really improved himself over the last several weeks, and has had an awesome attitude and has helped us get better as an offense.
And of course, another week, the offensive line, knock on wood, stayed fairly healthy, and there's a lot of different changes up there in the last couple of weeks than what we saw maybe 3-4 weeks ago. Just guys switching around because of injuries and whatnot, but did a pretty good job of pass protection. It's tough when you're behind, because the team knows they can pin their ears back and know that you're going to probably be passing quite a bit. But they've done a good job as well. And even run blocking, it's not always just the O-line. You need your receivers and kind of everybody to work together to help get those running backs free for some big gains.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we moved a lot of guys on the offensive line from their original positions. McCauley, moving him from guard to tackle. We moved... we added Joe Grant into the mix at our guard spot. We moved our freshman to our other guard spot. So it's definitely a work in progress, but the nice thing is there is progress. Mm-hmm. We're not taking steps back. We're moving forward. We did give up a couple sacks. Some of them were coverage, related. And so you can deal with those, especially on third down or fourth down. Sometimes things are going to be covered. But all in all, I think we're not where we need to be, but we're making progress, and that's the biggest thing that we've got to take from these types of ball games. Is we knew going into this season really that we've got a lot of new parts, and we've got to work through that together. And it's just nice seeing us continually getting better across the board.
Again, the final score on Saturday: Mustangs lose 44-20 to Sioux Falls. The Cougars improved to 7-0 and 3-0 in the NSIC South. The Mustangs dropped to 2-5 in the conference and 1-2 in the South Division. Let's take a look at the first half highlights between the Mustangs and the Cougars from Bob Young Field in Sioux Falls. And we start off here, Mustangs in the white. Big pass here, Kern to Nate Hewitt.
Yeah, here Hewitt works across the field really nicely. Stays on the move for our QB, and Charlie drops one in right along the sideline. A great catch, and nice gain for us to get us out of that backed up position.
Mustang rushing attack, Tyler Tondrum with a 15-yard run here for a big first down.
Yeah, we're pretty close on a lot of these runs, from getting those 15 to 20-yard runs into touchdowns. And here we just have a power play, and we end up hitting a crease and getting a nice gain.
Fortunately for the Mustangs, not be able to get a touchdown early on because of an interception, but Mike Wink drills this 35-yard field goal.
Yeah, and again, we've had really nice snaps, holds, and kicks all season. This is probably one of our better, most consistent special teams units.
We go to the defensive side, and Andrew McReynolds here with a couple of nice plays. First, a tackle for loss, and then an interception.
Yeah, here you can see him on the left side of your screen. Doesn't let anything outside him, and ends up making a nice tackle.
And in the top half of the screen here, McReynolds with his team-leading third INT of the season.
And you'll see here from the end zone copy, we get really nice pressure by A.J. Page. He gets into the quarterback's face, forces that ball to leave the quarterback's hand before he'd like it, and playing zone coverage over the top of it, and makes a nice interception.
Again, the third for McReynolds, and now a big third down completion here, Kern to Tondrum.
Yep, another third and long situation. We want to stay out of these situations just because of all the twisting and movement up front. But Tondrum, we get the ball to him, a lot of times good things are going to happen.
After a turnover, the Mustangs force a field goal, and Jake Lefso busts through here and blocks it.
Yeah, Lefso comes right through the A-gap, between the center and the snapper and the guard. And again, this is one of our better units as well. We've been able to block, we've been able to affect kicks, and it's been, probably, again, one of our better special teams units.
Charlie Kern, 29 of 46. Here's a completion to Ty Stephenson.
Yep, it all starts with protection here. Kern stands in tall and delivers a strike here inside, and we're pretty close again from hitting even a touchdown on this thing if we can get that to burst through those two defenders.
Mustangs settle for a 28-yard field goal to make the score 20-6 here late in the first half.
Again, frustrating to start out with 2 field goals, but again, we'll take the points. But we'd like to at least get one of those 2 drives, a touchdown. It's hard to stay with this team with just field goals.
End of the first half, Mustangs make another INT. Jared Tweet with the pick.
Yeah, it's good seeing our defense getting turnovers, and you'll see here from the other view that we get some nice blocks as well. I mean, it's not like we just intercept it and then everyone is cheering for the guy. I mean, everyone's going to work. Once they notice that it's intercepted, everyone's looking for somebody, looking for the quarterback, trying to get a big hit and try to spring us even for points.
Yeah, of course, that was late in the first half, and that ball went down to about the 40-yard line. They then called, the officials called an illegal block on the Mustangs that pushed you back 10 yards, and that was a big difference. I mean, there was a chance to possibly, get a couple more shots to the end zone, or at least get 3 points and make it an 11-point game.
Right. It very disappointing that was called, but it definitely left us with very little time and a lot of yardage to go to get into even field goal range, and so that was unfortunate. But you know what? Regardless, we played fairly well. We still were in the ball game at that point. And, we went in the locker room with some confidence, knowing that, our defense was playing well, making some stops. We just have to turn those field goals into touchdowns, and that would make a big difference. But I told the guys at halftime, field goals aren't going to win this game. We got to be able to punch it in, and we knew exactly what we were going to get, from a coverage standpoint. And so we just had to find a way to get it in the end zone.
Yeah, it's one thing I thought in that first half, too. The field goals aren't going to be able to win this game against this good a team, but you take the points because now you're only down by 2 scores going into the halftime break, and the way the defense was making some plays, why not? But again, the Mustangs trailed 20-6 at halftime. The Cougars start off with the ball to begin at the second half, and they went down and did score a touchdown to extend that lead. Let's take a look at the second half highlights. And on that opening drive, big sack here by Alex Burton. Good coverage sack by the Mustang defensive backs.
Absolutely, you read my mind. Great coverage downfield, and just really nice pursuit by everybody. Not giving up on the play, spinning off tackles, and we actually have a lot of people in position to make that sack. So good to get a couple of those behind us.
Third down conversion, the Mustangs, Kern finding Tondrum out of the backfield.
Yeah, really, this is just Kern improvising. This was not designed at all to go to Tondrum, and it's just nice seeing us not giving up on the play. Looking downfield, and that's one thing that he does well is can extend the play. And sometimes we'll have some guys downfield that we can make a play with, but this is a good example of just checking it down and letting one of your better players run with the football.
And here's a catch. Mustang is almost a touchdown here. Kern to Nate Hewitt on third down.
Yeah, Kern delivers a strike here. Looks like a touchdown. I thought it was pretty darn close, but the nice thing is we're throwing nice balls in tight coverage, and we capitalize and end up getting a quarterback sneak for the touchdown.
Yep, Kern here with the 1-yard run, and that made the score 27-13. Mustangs get a stop on their next possession here, defensively, I should say. And here's a big stop, though, later on by Jared Tweet here near the goal line.
Yeah, big hit to prevent a touchdown here. And, again, playing pretty solid, down inside the 5-yard line, and that was just one example of it.
And Devontae Stevens, who led the team in rushing with a big 20-yard burst here in the near sideline.
Yeah, well designed and executed. Again, he's one of those backs that's going to get you those tough yards inside, but he also has that ability to bounce it to the outside and get you some of these 20, 30-yard gains as well.
Again, Adam Olson, tied a career high, 11 catches. Here's one of his 11.
Awesome protection here. I mean, put the stopwatch to this. It's 3.13 seconds, so that's a long time back there in the pocket. Typically, we like to get the ball out in 2.5 seconds, but again, just well-executed play for us.
Mustangs score a touchdown, make it 34-20, 2-possession game. Kern finds Cross.
Again, a lot of man coverage in this game. You're getting plenty of it, and when you get man coverage, you have to win. And here's a good example of him breaking across the defender's face.
In our last highlight, Blake Gimble in relief of Kern with a pass completion to Tommy Steidler.
Nice thing about this play is Gimble doesn't give up on the play, keeps his eye down the field, and is able to find his receiver along the sideline. And we're able to give him some good quality work as well. There's been a couple games now where he's been able to get 20 snaps or so, and a lot of passing attempts, and that's not an easy thing to do, to just come off the bench, after standing for about 2.5 hours. Yep. And so we're just pleased with his progress, and again, really everybody. There's been awesome effort, and we haven't been able to get the results we wanted, but I really feel like we've got 4 games ahead of us that we still have a lot to accomplish this season, and a lot we can accomplish if we pull it all together.
Yeah, of course. Mentioned a couple of turnovers, interceptions, and tough spots, because when there's long throws to the sideline, it could be a pick six, and the Cougars had nearly a couple of those throughout the game. And I'm sure Charlie knows, though, that as a veteran, he's just trying to make some plays, and hopefully those are some correctable mistakes, and just kind of let it come to him, I suppose, and try to force some balls in.
Yeah, and it's never as good as you think. It's never as bad as you think. You always hear that term getting used by coaches, but when you look back at the game, we had the interception where it was 3rd and 9, and they intercepted on the 2-yard line, right? It's basically like an incomplete pass, and there's your punt. So we can live with that. We had one where it was on 4th down. So if you complete it, great. If not, that's where you were going to be anyway. So some of those didn't kill us, and the main ones that we got to eliminate, though, are the ones on 1st down where you're putting it in harm's way, and so that's going to be our focus, going forward. And I know we'll be able to bounce back from it, and make some plays here down the stretch.
Well, again, the Mustangs return to the Schwann Regional Event Center this Saturday night, 6 o'clock, as they take on the Wayne State College Wildcats. Wayne State had a 3-game winning streak until last Saturday, where they got beat in a heartbreaker to Augustana, so a team that's 4-3 overall. Another team with a winning record this year for the Mustangs. 6 of the 7 Mustang opponents this season have winning records as we speak. 3 of them are undefeated, so a very tough schedule to say the least. And Coach, Wayne State, we'll talk about them shortly, but we should mention we encourage the fans to get out to the stadium there early, because we're doing something a little bit different, and there's no reason why not. We want to honor our seniors, and it should be a great crowd for a Saturday night, and we're going to do that this Saturday night for senior night, as 12 Mustangs we'll have 3 games left at the stadium, but a nice opportunity to honor them and their families for their contributions to Mustang football. Yeah,
we made a little change this year. The previous several years since I've been here, we've done that in the last ball game. As you think through that, there's already a ton of emotions that go into that last game, so I didn't want to add one more thing to that and have them announced. So we're going to bump it up to this game. It's going to be better weather, and I think it's just one more way to honor our seniors, and should be a great setup. We will have their families come out, and we'll introduce them with their parents, their grandparents, guardian, whatever, and we'll make sure that we send them out on a great note here as we go down the stretch. But that's just one new thing that we'll have this year that I think will be a nice touch right in the middle of the season.
And we talk about the Wildcats now coming to town. Last year, the Mustangs did it on both sides of the football. Had a defensive score, offensively put up 55 total points in beating Wayne State, but it's a different team, and they come in with the top offense in the NSIC. They've got some very skilled players on the defensive side of the football. They right up there, leading or close to leading the conference in sacks. Talk about the Wildcats and what they bring to the table here on Saturday night against SMSU.
Well, they've probably one of the biggest turnaround programs from last year to this year. A lot of the players that we'll see on Saturday are really the same players we saw last year, and we had a very, very good performance versus them. But, it's a new year, new situation, and they get a lot of sacks, and they've got a really nice defensive line that gets after it. Coach Aldridge does a really nice job coordinating that defense, and then offensively, they're very stingy with the football. They protect their quarterback. They've only given 2 sacks on the season. I mean, that's just amazing to me for a team that leads the conference in passing. So those two just don't match up, and so it'll be a challenge, to get to him, because they just run a lot of quick game and get rid of the football in a hurry. So we'll have to do some things to try to disrupt them. But it'll be a challenge. They're playing well. Again, they're coming off a heartbreaker, and we'll see how they respond. But again, as any other week, we're going to really focus on us, our problems, our issues. We'll take care of those. They'll have their own problems and issues that they got to take care of, and it's going to come down to the team that's going to execute. I mean, it really is. They know what we're going to do. We know what they're going to do. We've been battling for years now, and it'll be fun just to see who executes. I mean, it's really the name of the game, and can we protect the football? Again, that's going to be the theme, and I don't want to overemphasize it, because then you start overthinking it, and but we need to have a really good week of work, and hopefully we can put it all together, and especially for our seniors, leave them on a great note for that day.
It should be fun. Again, Saturday night, 6 o'clock, Mustangs and the Wildcats at the Schwann Regional Event Center. Wayne State 4-3 in the conference, 2-1 in the South Division. So promises to be a big one. And as you mentioned, seniors, senior night will be introduced with their families prior to kickoff at 6 o'clock. For the head coach, Cory Sauter, I want to thank you for watching this week's edition of the Cory Sauter Show. Until next time, go Mustangs.